Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Alrighty. Looks like we're good. Bunch for me to go over here. Had a ton of trades, and none of them really worked out. So, kind of one of those days, and just looking to move on to the next. Nothing really got away from me. But just yeah, setups just didn't work today. Not a ton of follow through. What's going on, Sam? How are you? So I'll go down the list here. AEO. I daily was buying through this wedge break. We got this right here, this little gap, and pushed through it right off the open. So I bought and was risking versus lows. Came back and stopped me out. Even went red on the day, started to round out, and again, I'm always off desk around 11, so somewhere around here. And there was no real reason for me to enter. And then this here, any of these dips, once it swiped and proved that it was going to hold, I much prefer these 1280s, 1290s entries. But I wasn't on desk. I wasn't paying attention to this. I was long gone. And then going into the close, one of my friends, Emil, he shot me a message and was like, "Hey, AEO is closing strong." He knew I was watching it, so I put some on my lunch break there into close and basically risking wide versus lows. Risking 2R off a low a day just because I believe that there's going to be maybe this 1290 level could have been risk. And I don't think I need to wait until lows to stop out, but that's where I'm sized for 2R off of lows, and we will see how the action looks there tomorrow. But one little pop, and it was very short-lived, and the same thing happened on APLD. This one didn't come back, but was looking for this flag break here through the 1540s. We got a straight-up spike, so I bought into strength through those 1540s and a big red engulfing candle, and then I cut it under towards green to red. It didn't quite break, but it wasn't firming up. After these wicks, I wanted to see it start to bounce back, so that one was fairly short-lived. Those are my two main ideas going into today. I wasn't full size risk off a low a day because there was never any dips that proved it wanted to hold. So between those two trades, I was down 1.3 R within like a couple minutes off open. So that was fun. BMNR had joined this opening range high day break. It pushed, pulled, broke lows, double bottomed. I felt like this high day break versus lows was it had done enough chopping around that I could give it a shot, and it immediately stuffed. Big volume, never went any higher. So once we failed VWAP and couldn't reclaim, I was risking 1R off a low a day, and I ended up stopping right here. So again, this was like a half an R loss, but they're starting to add up. Half R loss, half R loss, half R loss. So they're starting to add up, and was getting a bit frustrating, but nothing was working. Hood, this one here was that recent swing trade, and I like to dip buy panics on strong daily charts, especially with billion-dollar plus market caps. They typically have pretty good odds for a bounce trade. And in my books, this is a panic. We got some speed up. I was watching the 2-minute chart, looking for a prior 2-minute bar break, and it never happened, never broke its prior 2-minute bar high. We got this little flush out, and then this was the first 2-minute bar high, so I was patient. But you can look right here. If you don't know any of this action, you can see this speed up here. It goes sub 110, which is that whole $0.50 mark of 110 that some people have stop losses at whole dollar spots. Then you've got this volume here starting to pick up and get explosive. So I reacted to the next green candle once it put in the low, so that I had somewhere to risk off of. And then I was just looking for that 2-minute bar break, which was 110.60-ish. And once that broke, then I was willing to be patient on some. So I locked some in towards prior lows, and then was going to let it work for a possible slower bounce, and it ended up rolling over, so I took that one off and lost about a half an hour after locking in about a quarter, and then stopped out on the rest, and then was net negative half R. So that was another one. Started to work and then just didn't. And then neg. This one here is pushing higher. So I was playing this flag break versus these prior lows. Started to consolidate and push up. I bought this little pocket pivot candle. Started to look pretty good and then immediately got stuffed. So I cut it and moved on and ended up grinding higher throughout the day. But again, another stop out. This one was a 1R loss. What else did I have? This one here triggered through that $10 spot. It finally actually did trigger, so I was swinging it from back over here, if you recall from that watch list. And then this lower high trend line finally broke. It broke through that 10, which was this prior lower high. So I was able to add and move risk up to low a day. And once I got stopped out, it was about a negative 1.5R loss. So everything was in control. It was all within my risk parameters. Was just a bit frustrating that it was just half R loss, 1R loss, just a bunch of them over and over. Just nothing was working today. NVNI, I started buying a little bit back in there around a core. So I started buying that week open. If it pulls back, I just want to see it hold over 50, 55-ish. But I think this could easily have been the low of that pullback and it could start to grind back. So I wanted to start to participate in dips and then potentially continue to scale there. Chris, Jeff, Dot, what's going on? What's your win percentage? Let me see. I've got it on my other computer here. It's around 60%. I just don't know it offhand. It's going to be like around like 58 to 64, somewhere around there. But I can wait for that spreadsheet to load up. Is green-red usually a spot where you like to risk on breakouts, for example, APLD? APLD, I didn't have enough. Usually I'm risking low a day, but given that I just bought the opening straight up spike, if I were to buy at 1540 and risk 1520, I don't think that, like, yeah, the risk reward is good, but I don't think that is a level like this. I think could have snapped back and then reclaimed from here. So I just don't think it was super meaningful to risk low a day at that point. So I just picked another level that was wide enough that I think if that level broke, that the trade was done. And as you can see, it continued to fail since then. Okay, let's see. This is open. My win percent. Yeah, so in like the last 2 years, 2024, 2025, it's been at 55%. Back like earlier in my career, 2022, 2023 was 57%. 2021, 59%. 51%. And then obviously that varies based on setup and whatnot. But it looks like it's like that, yeah, 55 to 57%. It seems like the average based on recent years and whatnot. So I'm glad I pulled it up because it doesn't look like it's been over 60% for a little while. Probably since like 2020. Yeah. So looks like it's just under 60%. Lowest being 51% and highest being like 59% in any of the recent in the given years. some of my higher setups, like my first red day, has like a 73% win rate on my trades. So if I just did that, my win rate would go up. Okay, so those are my trade reviews. So as far as trades, I'm still in Navini, and I'm obviously still in AEO, and we'll try to let those work as best I can. Benny pulling back to $1. This is day, 7 or 8 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Is it? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, day 8 today. And you can see they flushed below $1 and then right into close just bid right back up. So they're definitely trying to hold it looks like, for those 10 days. MRM starting to roll over. EQ never broke through those 110s, never triggered an entry. BMNR, that thing faded off, but it didn't have any sort of like no Ethereum pullback. So BTAI pulled back. Unfortunate that that kind of action couldn't have happened yesterday. This ETH is just insane, man. Jeez. Week open, pops first VWAP all morning, and then whoop, right back. Look at that daily. That's crazy. From 100 up to 180. This thing's definitely getting extended. Getting into mean reversion territory here. And I feel like BMNR will have relative weakness on the day that Ethereum pulls back. Just given the dilution and stuff that BMNR has. Whether this, I think the bigger picture move is still up on Ethereum. Like the daily chart on Ethereum going over like multiple years still looks super bullish. But I just think that this isn't healthy, where it's just going gap to gap to gap. Like it needs to pull back, reset, consolidate, and re-break out. Something like this, where it just goes up, 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 and it just needs to sit back for a little bit. Consolidate. The big picture trend is still up, but it just needs to chill out. LTBR kind of did what I was hoping it wouldn't, where it broke through those looking left levels, gap, and straight up spikes. Now I don't have a clean breakout level to trend join off of. ATNF, I avoided that one. I think the bigger picture trend on this one as well is still up. I just don't see this one fading all the way back given the Ethereum sector. This isn't anything I'd short. It's just the sector's too strong right now. I'm not looking to short any Ethereum names. If this were to pull back for another day, I'd probably look to play the backside bounce and be a bit more aggressive on something like that. EPLD, no real plan on that one anymore either, because it's just a bit choppy now that it broke out. Didn't reclaim, so let it be. A couple of those recent runners, no real volume in them anymore. Only one that had any volume and gap. BSLK, massive move, pulled back in after hours. Mint, another one. Pulled back in a close, big percent gainer. Joby, I really like the look of this one. It's looking like Head and Shoulders-esque to me. So we've got this left shoulder clear out on big volume, get stuffed, and then looking for it to top out through these 18s. And then if 1630s breaks down, then should start to roll over. So I'm interested in this one on any sort of strength tomorrow, and would use like this 21-ish as a risk. And then once 18 breaks, Then would look to scale versus that candle's high. But there's just so much volume that would be, God. Excuse me. As you can see here by the volume profile, looking left, there's just a ton of volume that we bagged up there if that 16s gives away. So I like this little head and shoulders action, so I will be looking for that 16s field fall through setup. Still looking for Navini to continue to build, ideally get some volume coming in there eventually, but I will continue to keep that one on watch. AEO would like to continue to add to this position as long as it continues to build. The last time it had a big breakout day right here, it didn't really have much fall through on day 2, so I don't want to get too top heavy in the event that it does gap down. I don't want to be emotional, so I will continue to use prior day's lows as a risk until I get a new level set up. And then Jobby, that little breakdown. And obviously ETHU is going to be a main watch day after day. It's just going gap to gap. Eventually it's going to have a rest day and pull back. So I think that's just about all I've got to go over. Not really that fruitful of a day. Plenty of stuff triggered, entry styles for me, and just nothing really worked out. But on those kinds of days, just got to keep risk in check and move on to the next. So, yeah, I think some good lessons in that today, but I appreciate you guys tuning in nonetheless, and hopefully we get some better follow throughout the rest of the week. So, have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys in the Investors Underground room tomorrow. Peace.